Welcome to Black and White Builds 423, everyone. I'm Montana. Today we're going to go over the most common question we get out in town or on social media. How is it running 37s on a daily driver? We drive the living daylights out of both vehicles. We bought both these brand new, so we do know what it is like to drive them 100% stock. Granted, the Jeep was only stock for about 200 miles, and then we put a tiny lift on it that moved up to 35s, and now we put a bigger lift and we're at 37s. Eventually we'll be on 40s. But right now, both are sitting on 37s, so that is the most common tire size that a lot of people like to do with their 4x4s if they lift them. So I'm going to give you the good, bad, and the ugly about running the 37s. And this truck, I also have good experience with all the different tire sizes. I started on your stock 34.5-inch tires, and I actually went down to a smaller tire and did that stretch look for a while, and that went out the door real quick, and now I've jumped up to 37s on a leveling kit. The Jeep is on a 6-inch lift on 37s. So I'm going to give you a walk around of the truck, and then the Jeep showing you the good and bads of just visual effects of the 37s. And then we are going to actually take them out in town, drive them, show you the good and bad part about driving on 37s, and then jump into a little later clip of our little 5-year-old and how she manages to get in and out of the vehicles to show whether it's really family oriented or practical if you do have a family. Our daughter absolutely loves it, so every kid will be different. She wishes they were actually bigger, so it'd be a little bit more of a challenge. But we'll jump over to showing you the things on the truck. So one big thing that everyone really likes about getting the bigger tires is they go for the offset. So right here you can see I'm sticking a few inches out, which I'm going to end up getting fender flares to stick out further to help, with slinging rocks and everything. But overall, the 37s give it a nice appearance on this size truck, at least. In my opinion, some people say they look too big or too small, but it's only on a 3-inch leveling kit. Now, granted, you can go a smaller leveling kit and be able to fit 37s if you have less offset than I do. And right there is my 3-inch leveling. It's just a little rough country lift, that's all it is. I went fairly cheap for right now until buying a nicer, bigger lift. Due to the amount of offset that's on these wheels, I'm going to need to put a bumper spacer in to move the bumper up forward a little bit. And I've already had to cut the air dam a little bit. And here in a second I will show you how much it rubs. As you can tell, it is already still need to be trimmed right here, which I'm going to do all these trimmings and everything. I just want to show you how much effort it is to run 37s before I actually fix all those issues. Alright guys, the truck is started up. We're going to hit the grocery store, the interstate, and just do a few things around town to show you how I personally believe the truck is nice and quiet on the interstate or on the roads and everything. But it is kind of tedious here and there to drive around in parking lots and everything. But let's go ahead and get to it. The next biggest problem you will have is in a packed location like Walmart with all these cars around. With the horrible turning radius and the awfully big vehicle, you'll have to park way out in the back or risk someone being able to ding you easily because you go from line to line almost. So you have very little room on both sides of you, so you end up parking way out here in the middle of nowhere and have to hike all the way to wherever you're going. Here's you a good example, everyone, of the interstate. I'm doing 60 miles an hour right now, and all you can actually hear whatsoever is just the engine. Now granted, we are on all trains, we're not on a big crazy knobby mud train, but it's still a good example. You can have a big tire on your vehicle and still have the road noise at a bare minimum. There you go, guys. That is it for the all-terrain 37s that we're rocking on the 2017 F250. I know something I didn't cover yet was fuel mileage. Being that I'm driving a big diesel truck, only going up 2.5 inches in diameter on tire because they come with 34.5s from the factory. So the 37 isn't that much more weight for this big of an engine and everything. So I've maybe noticed less than half a mile to a gallon difference. That's absolutely it. I can still easily run 21 to 22 miles to a gallon whenever I do a straight interstate shot. And in town, I'm 15, 16 miles to a gallon. So the tires whatsoever, fuel mileage wise, has not bothered me. The Jeep, it is a little bit different, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. So being that I have huge offset, I had to do some minor trimming here, and then I'm gonna push the bumper forward. But other than that, everything works out great. And then I'll have the full turning radius back. Granted, the only problem with the turning radius now is just due to this is a fairly new setup for me, and I haven't had time to, with family, work, all that, I just haven't had time to go buy me a new Dremel because I burnt mine out. Give it a little cut there real quick. And the bumper spacer, I'm just waiting on it. The guys have yet to ship it here. That's just a waiting game. So, but anyways, I think it's a killer setup. I love the 37s, and the only other issue you could say is speed. If someone else knows a way to calibrate the new trucks up to 37s, please throw it down in the comments below. I've heard there's some little adapter that you can plug in behind the dash or whatever. The tuners do not go up to 37s. They go up to stock size, or some go up to 35-inch tires. So the speedometer is off. You can look at that as a pro or a con, being that a con due to you don't know the exact speed you're going until you figure out exactly what it is by using GPS, and you make marks on your gauge saying, you know, hey, this is how fast you're going. Or you can use it as a pro and say, I drove 10,000 miles this year, but it only reads 9,000 due to the odometer's off. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump over to the Jeep. Now that we have shown you the truck, I got it out of the way so the sun can be hitting the Jeep to give you all a little bit better image. Our Jeep is a little bit different than most. We are running a 6-inch rough country lift, which, yes, it's not the top of the line lift or anything, but we only do go off-roading on the weekend, so there's no need to buy something crazy. But this thing does go on and off-road all day long. It's a daily driver for us, but yet on the weekends we do take it off-road. So we have a lot of experience with these 37s. And we are also a little bit different due to being a Rubicon. We do have the bigger, beefier axles and everything, so they do pull 37s much easier than if you had a different package that didn't have the Dana 44s in them. And we also do, I don't have it up there right now because we have the doors off, so I usually take it out when the doors are off, but we do have the Troll-2 Super Chips. Well, there's our 15 horsepower sticker to prove it. But with that, to where it changes all your shift points in your transmission and everything, we are able to get up to 18 to 19 miles to a gallon. With my wife driving, it's usually about 13 to 14 because when she's driving it by herself, she seems to think it's an F1 car. I have no idea why, but I will go ahead and give you the full turning radius. Now, a lot of this depends on the offset of your wheels. So keep that in mind when showing you the truck and the Jeep. It all depends on your offset, on whether it got rub or not, this or that. So I have quite a bit of offset on the truck. The Jeep, not so much, but I'll give you a full turning radius. It fully clears everything. Granted, back when we were on a 2.5-inch lift on 37s, as you can see here, kind of, it did rub a little bit. But since the 6-inch lift, it has easily cleared the 37s. We've had no issues. And then once again, that is when it had the 2.5-inch lift. It was rubbing when going off-road and flexing. Here's the #1 problem for the Jeep Wranglers whenever you put bigger tires on them. Let me get back to where it's not a big fan of it. Really? It went away just because the camera's on. Oh, there you go. Now it's coming back to it. And there's your famous death wobble. Which granted, all of this is because we still have the stock steering components on here, and we are ordering all the heavy duty steering components to put up there and make the Jeep how it needs to be, to where the 37s are 100% fine on there, and we're gonna move up to 40, so we definitely have to go ahead and re-support the whole front end with heavy duty parts. Here we go, let's see how a 5-year-old does getting into such a big vehicle. There it is. Hey, so do you prefer a big Jeep or back when it was smaller?
Big one.
You prefer the bigger? That's what I thought. That's it for the Jeep on 37s. The reason why we did the video on 37s right now is being that we have all stock steering components on there, other than the dual steering stabilizer for this, which I personally think is junk. I'm going to go back to a single. That's just a lot nicer. But you've seen the little bit of death wobble. That is a very recent thing. It just started that, so now it's time to upgrade the actual steering components to heavy duty stuff. Synergy, I've heard, is a really good one. If you all have any better suggestions, please let me know, because that's an upgrade that we're wanting to make. I want to make it one time. So, but anyways, the miles to the gallon has turned a little bit into smiles per gallon with the Jeep. It definitely loses a few miles to the gallon due to a small V6 trying to pull really big tires. The driving on the road, everything seems the same to me after 2 years of going from stock to 35s to 37s. I don't think it really rides any different. That's personal opinion. Obviously, a lot of people, whenever they go big tires, they will lower the air pressure in it to make it a little bit smoother ride. But other than that, the Jeep handles it very well. I know a lot of people have to re-gear if they don't have the Rubicon for 37s. That I can't really say a whole lot about, but it still kills it on the roads. It has enough power with the Dana 44s. But other than that, I think the 37s work on both these vehicles very, very well. Granted, we are building them, building, so yes, we are going to upgrade everything anyways, but I just want to do it before and after for you with the stock steering components versus the new ones. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Stopping by for the first time, please subscribe. You all have a great day.